Good day to you, my fellow endoskeletons. I'm Kenetor, and welcome back to another Starbase Progress Report. This is week 1 of 2022, and if you're new here, I bring you the latest news and updates of everything Starbase every week. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss out. Now let's get to it. Welcome back to the Starbase Progress Reports, now with a fresh new thumbnail colour picked by you guys. Thanks to everyone that commented and picked that colour. I hope you guys enjoyed my year in review video. You don't have to agree with all of it, but one thing is for sure, the best is yet to come for Starbase, and the only question is when. With the devs now fully rested up over the holiday season, now is the time to dig in and get some work done again. And part of my work is to bring you all the Lowry quotes, so let's dive into those. First up, we have Lowry answering when the next live patch might be coming, since we haven't had an update to live since November. He says the BTU patch has now grown into an uncontrollable behemoth, so it's likely going to be a lot at once to live, including quality of life, large features and whatnot, but the downside is that it will take longer to be completed. But once again, there's no rush at this point, better for one really good update. I can't help but find myself disagreeing with Lowry here, with bug fixes still desperately needed on the live server for many things, both already fixed on the PTU and those that are not. One thing that has stood out for me recently is that ships are still vanishing, and then needing towing from support staff to fix it. This sort of thing should not be happening this far post-launch on a regular basis. Fixes and quality of life should always be pushed to the players, especially on such a dwindling player base. It's one thing to ignore those who have left the game already, but you just can't ignore the few players you still have left. Next up, we have an update on the PTU features, which according to Lowry, Capitals have both missing features and a lot of bugs still to fix, with the moon mining and Capitals combo needing a few features and decisions. Stations must have meaning before siege, but they are still pondering is siege included in the first large update. Let me know in the comments once again if you want to see one big update or caps and moon mining sooner. He continues, as a general note, Capitals have a lot of potential to unlock a lot of cool gameplay, if the foundations and first live version is done properly. By the sounds of it, there's still quite a lot of work to do before they can launch even some of these features, and the PTU seems to confirm this. While progress is good, it also seems to be quite slow here. And I'm right there with Lowry with regards to getting the first live version done right. This first big update to the game can't come in half-baked. It's better to wait and be good than rush it and get another bad feature implementation like easily bug mode. And Lowry says just this too, with the want not to rush things and end up missing out on some cool opportunities, or that they would need to roll back on some features. He gives us an example that there will be a new requirement for outer plating of a cap ship to be intact and properly built, and that launching without that feature would first allow incorrect caps to be built, and then all of a sudden a lot of people would have non-functioning capital ships. This is a great example of a good reason to keep a patch back. It's both a gameplay reason and helping them not to back themselves into a corner by giving us something then taking it away and possibly stranding players, thus making the community angry about it. Lowry also confirms that both siege and intercept against military capital ships is still planned, and that cap and siege stuff is so massive a set of features that they must prepare for a lot of balance and adjustments after those come to live, as the PTU can only catch some of the bugs, but all the balancing and big picture stuff can only be fixed after the features are on live. And this is quite an important and truthful statement here. PTU players can only do so much. The real test is what the wider player base does with this on live. Will exploits be found? Will something so left field pop up the devs never thought of? Going live with a feature is the only way to find out, and the devs know this and are prepared to face it head on, not if, but when it happens, is a great sign for all of us. Lowry goes on to tell us that with all the features, it's good to remember that from the first working version, there's still years to the polished version. While they definitely do not try to disappoint people with the first version, there will be better ones for sure. With Starbase, he's not saying it's years until fun, he's really hoping it's more like the first half of 2022 to the fun, and then just more and more fun on top of that. But yet again, their estimates tend to be very poor. Yep, Frozen Byte's estimates have been way off for the entire development, at least the public side of things. But I'd like to focus on that they recognise the need to focus on getting the fun into Starbase. Base gameplay loops are one thing, but fun is quite another, and seeing Larry point this out specifically gives me good hope for the future of the game and its upcoming features. Interestingly, we get a sneak reveal of a balance update being worked on for explosives, which Larry says is going to be reworked to other than absolute area destruction logic. This is great news that missiles and torpedoes won't just be deletion spheres, but I also hope this extends to batteries and generators too. I'd love to see some sort of containment that we are able to make to have losing something like a gen or a propellant tank less painful, or at least be able to buffer the explosion somehow. Lastly, we finish up with a quote on when the new roadmap will come. He replies not too early for sure, but most likely they will need to do a few updates to it down the road. He was quickly asked then if we would then see it by the end of January, and he says it's mostly depending on his contribution, so it's doable. But there are a lot of other things on his plate. This week's progress report update is on Siege progress, and it's kicking off straight away in the gallery section with a view on what victory looked like for the Siege UI. The next update is a tab showing the Siege info. This page actually has quite a bit of info here showing personal sieges, company sieges, as well as public ones. So be it whether you are attacking or defending, a lot of the info needed will be on this new page. Our third image is one showing the choice to join a siege as either side. I would assume this is the screen allies or third-party siegers will see when joining the fray. I hope that attackers and defenders will get their own UI name showing elements to make sure that friendly fire is kept to a minimum. The last thing you need in the chaos of a siege is to be taking down your allies because you literally don't have the time to sort group invites with non-company members. I'm hoping we can have players just focus on the side they have chosen without worrying about who's who. The exception to this would of course be third-party siegers, who I'm sure the attackers would love to be aware of and possibly remove from the siege as well. Next up is an updated UI mockup for the Siege in progress. Not much has changed since we last saw it, and it's more of a refinement on it so far. And our last image is an awesome one. This is the military capital ship shield generator. This is the device that will be needed to make a siege happen with its ability to nullify the dynamic safe zone. Loving all the detail in this model, and it looks like it will be a standard 4x4x4 crate size piece too. Diving into the report now, and we kick off with siege tech. And this is all pretty much done with the exception of melee weapons damage to stations. But don't let that fool you, however, as siege gameplay is where all the work is currently going on, with mainly coding left to finish, so let's take a deeper look here. Warzone interactions. When a milcap fast travels to the target station for a siege battle, a warzone forms and causes the safe zone of both the attacker and the defender to get disabled. Restrictions are also placed on civilian caps within or close to the warzone. Capship and station size classes. Milcap ships can initiate siege only at stations of the same size class, which is determined by the amount of build areas. Note they have previously said you can also attack smaller stations here, or group up with multiple cap ships to attack a larger size station. Siege scheduling mechanics. Mechanics for initiating a siege by choosing a time slot for the attack in the siege terminal. The defending station is also able to set their preferred time slots for battles. Defending in a siege. While fighting, the defending side can create obstacles by welding new parts to the station. Though there will be some restrictions in place as well, the station build areas cannot be expanded and only manual welding can be used for building. Teams for siege. The attacking and defending companies or faction become two teams that fight. Unaffiliated players can take their pick of the two or remain as outsiders, for example, to try to scavenge the siege area for resources. Now this one's interesting. This kind of says to me that third-party teams won't be able to claim a station if they beat both the attackers and defenders. This definitely needs more clarification here. Capture gameplay. Mechanics and visuals for the capture gameplay. When a siege begins, both the target station as well as the attacker's cap ship become capturable by the other side. Capturing proceeds one layer at a time towards the center of the structure. The HUD and other visuals will indicate if an area is capturable and who is currently in control. Siege win condition. When one side fills the win condition for a set amount of time and the siege minimum time has passed, the siege will end. Siege HUD. During the siege battles, the HUD will show the capture status of the current area the player is in, siege time, and victory condition. As you can see, all these different aspects of siege are still under work, and none of them are far enough along to bring siege to the PTU yet. Lastly, we have the capitals in Siege section, and kicking off with obviously the military capital ship itself. And this is complete. Siege can only be done with a civilian capital ship converted to a military one, and this will be done via the Ship Manager tab. The military capital ship shield generator is still under coding however, and this is a requirement for a military capital ship to start a siege. And finally, there is the siege terminal. Similar screen view as the capital ship fast travel terminal, this will be where the milcap can initiate a siege to a station whose location is close enough or a saved one on a navigation ship. You can also join an already scheduled siege battle from here too. And that's it, you're all caught up with this week's Starbase news. Don't forget to come drop by my Discord or chip in to support the channel via donor box or YouTube memberships. All my monthly supporters are listed at the end of my videos and all get access to a supporter channel on my Discord as well as my eternal gratitude. As always, please smash that like button, share this video with your friends and faction, leave a comment with any question you want answers to, and I'll see you in the next one. Kenetor, out.